Listen, you hear that? Everything's freaking going crazy. Rotated and balanced the tires. Now it's getting worse and worse. It's a brand new truck. What is up, Light Bright Nation? So today we have to go over the F450. I absolutely love this truck. This F450 Platinum has been amazing. It's undescribably amazing. It really is good, but nothing is really without fault. And I'm gonna go over all the stuff that I really love about it. I gotta go over some of the things that I have no idea why it's not better on such an expensive and new truck. It's 2021. We've already put 23,000 miles on this truck. One of the first things I need to cover though is the shaking. At about 12,000 miles, the truck started having a shimmy and a shake. Listen, you hear that? Everything's freaking going crazy. Rotated and balanced the tires. It got better for about 3,000 miles and now it's getting worse and worse. It's a brand new truck. It shouldn't just eat through tires and start shaking. It's annoying. I have been searching all over the internet. I've been searching as far as I could in all the websites, all the forums. It's a problem. It's not a problem just with Fords, with Chevys, with any kind of really heavy duty truck. And these have the 19.5s on them, so they have the really big heavy duty tires. As you can see, they are feathering like crazy. I don't know if that's gonna come out. I think these chips and stuff are from being in gravel and whatnot, but the tires are feathering super terribly. The rears are even doing it. And this is a brand new truck. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not lifted. There's nothing aftermarket. Most of these miles are towing. These tires are super expensive. So after doing all that searching, all that digging, I think I finally found the solution. So super simple. This is what I found. Is Centromatic. They're out of Texas, made in Texas. You can see right there. This is not a paid sponsorship. This is what I found. This is what I was told that you have to do. This is what they are right here. They're these rings that you pull the wheels off and you bolt them to the inside of the wheel. Now, if you guys have heard of tire beads, essentially for off-road vehicles, when you mount a new tire, you put a certain amount of these tire beads inside the tire and it's supposed to help balance it out so you don't balance the wheel. But the thing is with tire beads is you can get condensation in the tire. They can start to clump up and they don't work properly. And you have to kind of guess. Well, what these guys did, you hear the sand in there or the beads? So these literally, you pull off the wheels, you bolt these on in between and they make them for everything. Then you never have to balance your tires again. You get 10 to 15% longer tire life and it should ride smooth as a frickin' baby's bottom. Now, if you remember, our Ram was having a vibration issue. I think the Ram possibly was driveline related, but I could be wrong. And this might have been the solution for the shaking. It wouldn't have fixed all the other issues we were having with the Ram, like the clunking and the pulling and the hard transmission shifts. These right here can go on anything. Say you like doing your own tires at home. You have beadlocks and you don't want to have to take them somewhere to balance each time and you drive on the road. You can get these for a Jeep. You can get these for a Chevy, for a Ford, for a Dodge. It doesn't matter. They actually came about for 18-wheelers. For these guys trying to get as good as gas mileage as possible and longest tire life possible, because that's how these guys make money. You don't want to be spending extra money on tires for no reason if you don't have to. It doesn't add that much weight and it keeps the tires completely balanced. So you can do beadlocks at home, and if you have this set on there, you don't have to ever worry about it. Scrape off the wheel weights, throw these on. Now, I haven't tested them yet. I'm going over this video and I'm really hoping this is gonna do what I wanted to do. So I'm gonna throw them on right now and we're gonna go drive and see. And when I do that, I think we'll cover some of the things that really needs to be addressed by Ford as far as literally $100,000 truck goes. Because for that kind of price, some of the stuff that I've come across over the past 23,000 miles just honestly isn't okay. So it's pretty easy peasy. Just jack up the front end, pull the wheel off, and we'll slide one of those first Centromatic balancers on here. And it's not really much to it. So that's it, just pull the wheel off. And these ones that look like a drum brake, I'm gonna assume go up front. There we go. Just like that, just throw them on. Now, I do have wheel weights on this still. You got the one on the outside, you got one on the inside, some balance here. I think I'm gonna leave those on for right now. If I take them off, I can't really put them back on. I can leave them on, and if I still have an issue, I'll pull these weights off because maybe it's messing with this guy here. So I think that's a better route to go right now. Figure it out from there. So that's it up front. Super simple. The rear should be the same thing. Just pull off the outer wheels, slide on the pizza disc looking one, and we'll be good to go test drive this. And actually excited to share with you the things I really love about this truck and the things that not so much. Now the super weird thing is even the rear tires are feathering. I don't know if that comes across on camera at all. It's probably hard to see in camera. I'm trying to get the right angle, but I can feel it. Can literally feel the feathering on the tires. You can see it in the camera. The rears don't feather normally. The fronts do because you steer with it if the roads are weird and they move, but the rear's a solid axle and just nothing happens. These should be just like completely nice and smooth with no issues at all, but that's not the case here. So I think part of it with the Centromatic, that's how it makes the tires last longer, by being always perfectly in balance and not getting these weird choppiness and feathering. So again, let's throw it on and let's go test drive it. Yeah! Good Lord! That is unnecessary. That's a slide hammer. Did you see how hard I was hitting it with the slide hammer? I didn't even know that was an issue till now. Great video for it to go on. That makes 0 sense. Come on. I mean, I'm not weak. Might not be as strong as Beck, but I'm not weak. Just thought of something. Make sure that this opening is facing your valve stem right here. Otherwise, you won't be able to check your tire pressure on that inside. Does it say out and in, or? Pretty sure it goes like this. But I'm gonna go check online before I mount this back up, and we'll go from there. Okay, so it is with the ring out, facing out. Make sure you
figured that out for you.
Brittany, hi love, nice of you to join me when I'm almost done. So that goes out. Make sure this is right where the valve stem's at, so you can check it still, and you're good to go. Oh God, there we go. I don't even want to put these back on. I need some pliers. Yeah! All right, so the Centromatics are on. Now, I'm kind of curious to see if it's going to be smooth right away, because you have to keep in mind these tires are kind of bad now. And so I don't know that it's just going to magically solve any tire wear issues. I mean, it can't solve the tire wear issues, but I'm wondering if it's going to overcome.
Will it help compensate?
Right, will it overcome them right away, or is it going to take some time, some hours driving down the highway to get the tires to wear back properly? So we'll see. Also, don't forget, I left all the wheel weights on. I may need to pull those off, so I brought some tools. If it's still really, really bad, I'm going to pull the wheel weights off, because I don't think I need them anymore.
We'll see. So, but I figured now, while we're about to get on the highway and stuff, would be a good time to go ahead and start going through the list that Kevin and I have been making over the last like 4 or 5 months that we've owned this truck. Going over the things that we do not like about the truck. Obviously, we love the crap out of it, but no vehicle is perfect. There are things that we hate on every single vehicle we've owned. Period.
Things that all could have been corrected if they would literally
just let us test drive them.
Yeah. Literally hire me to go drive your vehicles for 6 months. I could make you fix your vehicles so people get it and they just absolutely love the crap out of their vehicles. Anyway, let's get into some of these while we let the truck see if it does its thing on the highway.
The first thing that we noticed literally pulling out of the used car dealership that we bought this truck at.
Yes.
Were the cameras.
Okay, the Ram and our Jeep, the cameras are crystal clear. The first thing I did when I put this in reverse, I was like, is this the 1970s?
It's like a Nokia cell phone from like the 1990s or something. Like, it's awful.
This is a 2021.
I don't even know if they had a Nokia cell phone in 1990s,
no,
early 2000s, whatever. Point is they suck.
This is a 2021. Now, the 2022 supposedly have a big 10-inch screen and maybe the cameras are better, but it is fuzzy. It's like somebody took an oily finger and smudged it over all the cameras.
And this isn't just like the F450 thing or truck thing. This is a Ford thing because Kevin's dad has a Ford, whatever, Ford something. His cameras are absolute garbage as well. Like my Supra has a better camera. When I used to work at a Volkswagen dealership, they had better cameras. Like the cameras on this truck and on most Ford vehicles, I'm assuming, are just like trash.
Okay, so here's the bed camera that if we're gonna be backing up to a gooseneck, you can kind of see how pixelated it is. Now, through the phone, it almost looks better than it does.
It doesn't look too terrible.
Look at the grass. Maybe go over to the grass.
I mean, but you can see how like pixelated it is.
Here, when I zoom in.
Like the easiest way to look at the VP. Look at how pixelated the VP is.
It's just not clear. And you might think it's not a big deal, but when you're trying to back up and it's any kind of inclement weather or any whatever, it is very hard to get that dead on.
Yeah. This is a crystal clear sunny day. When it's overcast, or God forbid, when it's nighttime, you can't see jack shit on any of the cameras.
Yeah. But like on our previous Ram and on our Jeep, it's like HD. It is crystal clear. I don't know about Chevys, haven't been in one, but for a $100,000 truck, come on. If Jeep can do it and Chrysler can do it,
it's pretty bad.
Ford can do it.
Now, is it a make or break? Obviously not. They still have cameras. They still exist. You can still mostly see what you're doing. It's just the quality of the camera is like super subpar from what we're used to in our other vehicles.
Okay, so it is smoother for sure. Is it glass smooth? Not yet, which I didn't expect it to be. Now, maybe there's too much weight now between what's in those Centromatics and the wheel weights that are on the vehicle.
All the wheels.
It might be too much. It might be too much weight, which can throw stuff out. So I just tried to pull them off, couldn't do it without
tearing up the wheel.
So we'll pull that off later. But it's
a difference for sure.
It's like, definitely a difference. It's like, I'd say it's 70% better.
We're
right
hoping
now.
we can do that, plus figure out the weights on the wheels and it'll get even better, would be nice.
Or if the tires.
Or the tires wear evenly.
Speaking of highway, actually, and I know, guys, I know this is per manufacturer and and National Highway Safety, whatever.
It's not just Ford.
Yeah, so the F450 has a top speed, a limiter of 88 miles per hour. Go back to the future. So, I get it. It's because it's the rated for the tires, and that's what the speed is, but that can be dangerous. It's been dangerous a couple times.
It has been dangerous for us a couple times.
Because we're behind somebody, and it's speed limit's 70 or 75 or 80.
Someone's going, let's say 60 or 55.
You go to get around them, and then you deadhead at 88, and sometimes, jerk offs will speed up, but now you're on the opposite lane trying to pass, and you're stuck at 88 miles an hour.
It's made passing situations
very
necessarily safe. Obviously, like if we're towing, we're not going that fast anyways.
No.
But when you're passing someone, you do need to accelerate and get around them as quickly as possible before oncoming traffic, kills you. We understand the safety measure, but it's also added a little spice to passing maneuvers.
There should almost be like a pass button that temporary for 30 seconds or maybe 2 minutes or
whatever
something allows a top speed of more than 88 miles an hour. I don't know. Just thinking. These are little things to just keep in mind when you get an F450 because it has 19.5-inch wheels, therefore limited speed rated tires.
Yep.
But I get it. Okay, let's speed around through a couple little nitpicky things, although some of these might be a deal breaker for some people. One, the electronics are kind of weird. My driver's seat, because it has memory, doesn't always go back to my position. So when I get in the truck and you start it, it should always move back. I don't know why. Sometimes it just stays in the rear position or...
Something's in the back of the truck. Most of the time, it does. There's been a couple times where it hasn't.
Yes.
A little weird nitpicky thing.
Yeah, the mirrors and the seats.
Another thing, one of the main reasons we bought our Ram when we had the Ram was the back seats folded completely flat where we could actually lay or sleep on them if we're in a situation where we needed to or wanted to. These do not, and these do not. Front, back seats, neither one of them lay completely flat. Again, big deal. To most people, probably not. To us, not really, but it is something that it'd be cool if it did.
This thing is a cold-blooded beast. The Ram diesel would start and pretty much be warmed up right away. This thing, no sir Bob, no sirree ma'am. This thing stays cold for a long time. It takes a minute for the heater to kick on. They do have an optional heater package where when you remote start it, there's like an electric heater that blows hot to warm up the cab because it's so cold-blooded.
Yeah.
So if you live somewhere cold, get that option in your
For
F450.
sure.
I think it's maybe an F350 option as well.
Another little thing, it has a gas cap. Again, not a deal breaker, but like plenty of vehicles, plenty of technology where
Rams
you don't,
have
you
gas
don't
caps.
need a gas cap in a lot of vehicles nowadays. Why have one?
It has a door. It just has a door, and it works
So,
perfectly fine in the Ram. It works fine in the F-150s. Like, why?
Little thing, but I don't know.
Now, a big thing, though, is the fan in this thing. Now, it's not electric like in the JL. It's a mechanical fan. At least that's the way it sounds. I haven't even looked. But when it locks up to cool off this thing, it is...
my God. It is so loud. Like, it's a freight train.
It is powering up.
Like, we're about to take flight.
Like, it is loud. Now, look, it keeps it cool. I've never seen the temperature get hot.
It's never
while
gotten
towing.
overheated, yeah.
But I will be cruising up a mountain pass with the trailer, say doing 70 miles an hour on cruise. That fan locks up and I drop 10 miles an hour. It locks up, pulls so much air that I literally lose probably like 500 foot-pounds of torque.
Dude,
okay, maybe not 500.
And I have, and if you don't believe us, I have a video to prove it. And hopefully the audio, you can hear it preparing for flight.
There it is. Now, the only reason I mention it as far as the fan goes, because it does keep everything cool, at least I think it does, which will lead to my next point. It's not just like it turns on and then off. It is like, how often it happens so often. It doesn't even have to be upgrade. It's just on flat ground, and it's quite intrusive. It's just loud. It overtakes everything in the cab. Your radio has to go up.
It's loud. Like, remember when the JL, we had the issues and it always sounded like a jet engine firing up and taking off. It's the same thing, but it's that loud inside the cab as well as outside the cab. So, quick update though, so far still no really bad vibration. There's still, you can feel a little bit of imbalance, but that could hopefully still be either the tires, because again they're really badly feathered, or maybe the extra wheel weights that are on there. So we're hoping we'll be able to figure out a way to even make this better than it currently is. But it seems to have gotten rid of the worst of the vibration and shake that we were really feeling on the highway.
It's got to be 70% better, which is way beyond livable now. Like it's like, oh, okay.
Now I think there's still something.
A little something. But
and the tires are bad.
So far, well worth the money.
Yes.
Now, the last kind of two things, which this is my first dually, it may be a dually thing. People have told me it's an F450 with the 19.5-inch pizza
wheel
cutter thing. It has kind of really bad tracking. Any grooves from like 18-wheelers and stuff, it sits in them, and I mean, it starts to...
It'll pull you pretty hard one direction or the other if you catch a track in the road.
I felt it in sports cars where I run super fat front and rear tires for as much grip as possible.
You can kind of feel it in the Supra sometimes, but obviously with the dually, it's way worse. The first time it happened, we were like, what?
Yeah, because the whole truck
it shifted us
heavy.
like a foot or two to one side.
Yeah. And then the other thing, which I think might be the tall tires from the 19.5 wheels and tall tires, when I turn left to right here, it almost feels like we have no direct connection to the road. It almost feels like the truck is maneuvering over top of the tire.
It's not like an obvious feeling of the cabin swaying. It almost feels like you're kind of floating. It's weird. It's not like, again, not a deal breaker, not even really anything to be concerned about. It was just a very different feeling than what we're used to.
If I just rock it left to right, it's like nothing's really happening. We're not moving, but the whole truck is just like pivoting over the tire. It's floating on the tires. It's
a very interesting feeling.
That might be a dually thing, might be a 19.5-inch wheel thing. I don't know.
I will say overall, because I feel like this needs to be repeated, we are significantly happier with the Ford F450 than we were with our Ram. Obviously, part of the issue there is the Ram was a much lower trim model in its, variety. The reason we did that was totally on purpose. We weren't having great experience with the Ram. We were lacking a lot of the stuff we thought we wouldn't care about, but turns out we kind of did.
When you live in it, it turns out you
over time we're like, God, it sucks, or I wish we had this, or I wish we could do this. So when it came time to we finally got sick of the Ram and sick of the mechanical issues we were having from day one that we got sick and tired of. So we decided at the same time, if we're gonna buy another truck, we might as well get the biggest, baddest piece of machinery we possibly can so that we won't have any regrets. Obviously, again though, no vehicle is perfect, we're nitpicking, and there are still things about this truck that we wish were different or we don't really like. There's a bajillion things that we freaking love.
The ride. Oh. The ride is amazing. And it's funny because I look online and people complain about the F450 ride. And I'm like, have you ever ridden in a Ram 3500?
Ram rode like crap compared to this.
If you ride in a Ram 3500, you will think your F450 rides like a freaking Cadillac. And I still, till even right now, this thing, love the way it freaking rides.
Yep. Also, the dual climate control is not just that it exists. Obviously, our previous Ram didn't have that option because of the lower trim level again. That was our fault. But I will say the dual climate control in this, like, it will change to the degree that you set it to. And I freaking love it.
The Ram didn't.
The Ram, it was kind of like hot or cold.
You had hot and pretty much cold. Yeah, you didn't have anywhere in between. And look, this is why Brittany likes it. Look, we could not be more opposite.
Look at this.
She has her seat heater on. I have my AC on. I'm on low. She's on 72.
The seats are also more comfortable, not to mention the massaging seats for those 12+ hour drives that we do sometimes. The massaging seats are the total difference between feeling like crap when you get out at the end of the day and feeling not that bad. The interior of the truck, I absolutely love.
I do love it. Now, some of the things I didn't know this truck had was a brake temperature sensor. We were coming down the mountains, the brakes were smoking, and I pulled over to let them cool, and I was like, actually, the highway's right there. Let's jump on the highway and let them cool off.
It cools off better that way.
I get on the highway, I go to put it on cruise, and it says, cruise not available, brakes too hot. And I'm like, that's weird. Why wouldn't it just tell me my brakes are too hot? Because when you're on cruise control and you have adaptive cruise, it uses engine braking and foot braking. You use the normal brake pads and brake pedal. Because it was over temperature, you couldn't set the cruise because it didn't want to use the brakes on its own
and make
to slow the vehicle.
Hotter.
So I didn't know either one of those. I didn't know it had a temperature sensor for the brakes. I also didn't know when it slowed down. Most cruise controls just cut throttle and wait for it to slow down. No, this engine brakes, it'll downshift and it'll hit the foot brake at the same time. So
those were things that we thought were pretty rad. We definitely like. I mean, the engine so far, we haven't had any issues. Transmission wise, zero issues. That was one of the issues we did have with our Ram. Again, had nothing to do with the trim level. Maybe we just got a lemon. I don't know. But the shifting in the Ram Trans was like being hit with a freaking brick.
And it was the upgraded ISM. We extra paid
specifically for that transmission
to get the HO Ram. We got the low trim level so we could afford the higher output, the 1,000 foot-pounds of torque with the ISM Trans. And although the engine, I think, felt more powerful than this Ford, and that transmission's supposed to be bulletproof, it shifted like you got rear-ended when you hit like second gear or third gear, sometimes downshift from third to second. It just, I mean, I thought something was gonna break, and it might, or maybe that's the way it's built, but
I don't know. This one though, it shifts super smooth. We haven't had any mechanical issues other than this vibration thing. Just so you know, we did buy this truck technically used. It had 600 miles on it from someone else. Maybe the alignment was out or something, and a lot of the vibration is
it's infinitely better now.
It is infinitely better now after this, which is nice. And it's not it's so much a driveline vibration, which is another issue we had with our Ram. It felt like maybe an out out of balance drive shaft or something, maybe. Yeah. So anyways, point is, do we love our Ford F450?
Oh,
yeah, we do. Is it better than our Ram 3500? Obviously. Are there things we would still change about it? Yeah, of course. There's things we would change about every single vehicle we've ever owned in our entire life.
Is that all the things?
Except my buggy. My buggy is perfect.
No, it's not.
I know, I would still change stuff about it.
Is that everything I have written down?
I think so. Kevin, I'm telling you, when I say list, like we've been making a list for months so we could tell you guys our genuine opinions of our vehicle.
Look, none of this stuff's a big deal. The vibration's a big deal when you're driving long distances, and the feathering of the tires is a big deal. All in all, F450, absolutely. Now I get you guys some people are just Ram through and through. That's fine. My biggest issue with the Ram was the vibration, which seemed driveline, not wheel and tire. It clunked when I would go over bumps, and it pulled to the left super hard, and the transmission shifting. Those are all, doesn't matter what trim level you get. But I love the look of the Ram, and I love the huge screen. The huge screen in the Ram. This little thing sucks for a $100,000 truck. The Ram's got it going on as far as the infotainment center. That is absolutely amazing.
But yeah, those are our 2 cents on what we think about our F450 compared to our Ram 3500, or just in
The
general
F450
what we
in
think
general.
about the F450.
I'm gonna find a way to pull off these wheel weights and go drive again, and maybe we'll just update you in another video. But
Yep.
if it gets better, great. Where it's at, way better.
Still way better than it was before.
Way better.
For
Way
sure.
more noticeable. And I should have done this before the tires were jacked up. So maybe pulling the weights off isn't gonna do anything. Maybe it's already too late for this set of tires.
And just for the record, because some people, when we went over what we didn't like about our Ram 3500 and we announced that we were going to the Ford F450, a lot of people seem to totally miss the fact that we were trading in our Ram and we were at a used car dealership, and they're like, oh yeah, Ford's sponsoring you. Ford didn't give us this F450.
From a used car dealership.
From a used car dealership. We paid for it. Ford does not sponsor us, just like Jeep does not sponsor us, just like Ram doesn't, just like no vehicle manufacturer ever has ever sponsored us, in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Remember, you can find all of your Light Bright Nation merch and decals at lightbrightstudios.com. As always, we love you, and we will see you next time.
Bye, guys. So I filmed the first one, and I decided just to film all one and talk in between. Got done, and I noticed the mic was facing the other way, so you heard me echoey, and all you heard was leaves rustling in the background. It was beautiful.
If you didn't delete it, all you
I didn't delete it.
Okay.
The factory, it actually comes with these guys here. Oh, that one still has it. I guess they left that, and then when they rebalanced it, they put some sticky weights in here.